finding out you were going to be the voice of Leon S. Kennedy, and what is your opinion on Resident Evil 6 compared to the classic titles?
Okay. First question. It was an audition. I was called in by Liam O'Brien, who directed that project. He had a few people come in and read for the character. It was a voice match, but also he wanted to see what he could bring. I don't know Capcom's reasonings for looking for a new actor. I'm glad they did for my own personal purposes. But I was a big fan of Paul Mercer's performance as Leon Kennedy previously, and so I really wanted to embody that. So I did a lot of research and went back and re-listened to a lot of his work. And I had driving to the audition, a bunch of YouTube videos playing and doing the call and repeat stuff to make sure I could kind of tune into the character. Take out water. and yeah, went in there and did an audition for it, and then came in for a callback a few weeks later, and I guess it was between me and one other actor, and I ended up getting it. And so my reaction to getting it was smiling, elation, and then a few laps. There's very few projects make me do laps, but I will do laps. I will just run in a circle and be like, that was definitely one of them. As far as my opinion of Resident Evil 6, I really enjoyed the story. We have very little control the actors, of course, have on the final product of a game product we work on. And I felt the story was really well written, solid performances, and all the actors did an incredible job. I feel that it did stray a little bit from what was expected of a Resident Evil game, especially in the latter missions. I felt Leon's was probably the most true to the survival horror genre.
Yeah.
And I was happy about that. I'm like, that's right, representing. But yeah, I know they were trying to appeal more to the Western audience, but in that case, they also tend to alienate a lot of their classic fans.
Yeah.
I think that was a point of contention that they realized after the fact of that product. So I'm hoping going forward, they'll be a little more intent to respect its roots as opposed to trying to take it in a direction that maybe people don't want it to go. I enjoyed it, I really did. I thought the game was really good, but I felt that it was a little different from what I was expecting out of a Resident Evil title in the long run. So
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
You played Anarchy in Batman Arkham Origins. What was it like to play that character and to work on that series?
That was fun. Arkham Origins was a blast, partially because I've just been a big fan of the Batman franchise for so long, but Anarchy was a character that I love in the comics that I felt hadn't really been represented well in a lot of other media. And the way their take on Anarchy here specifically, I felt was where I felt Anarchy would really come from, in a modern day setting. He really embodied the essence of that anarchic, child born of the internet type mentality, an individual that, as opposed to believing what they hear, they go out and seek the information themselves on the internet and whip them into a frenzy. He was like the epitome of Anonymous, given physical form in a Batman game. And as a person who may have wandered 4chan a bit back in the day, I had a connection there. He was just a great character, and I felt, especially when we got the writing back here recording, I was like, this character, for being so impetuously young as he's represented in comparison to all the other villains, a lot of his dialogue, especially after being defeated, if you just stick around, he just starts rambling about Batman.
Yeah,
he just breaks down the whole psychology of Batman in a way that no other villain has in a long time. And I remember reading through the dialogue, I'm like, this kid is freaking smart. Really, I imagine, as he's talking in the game, even though you can't really see Batman's face, I imagine Batman the whole time going really nervous suddenly as he's now set into a serious tinge of introspection. But no, he was a lot of fun. And I got my action figure recently because they released that. It was like a little hot dog. I'm like, yeah, and it will stay in his hand and it keeps falling off. I'm like, no.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You did Kanji Tatsumi in the latter episodes for that animation. I was wondering if you could say "get bent" in his voice.
Get bent! Woo! Or like juicing, so what? Fast can be bad.
Hi, I was wondering if you could say the "trying to take a shit" line as Levi.
I will say, as we're recording that, I'm like, man, he has a fascination with people just taking it. It's a recurring theme. Me and my father would joke about it. We're like, they're not going to play into a fetish down the road, are they? But no, it was really funny. What was it? It was Hanji comes back. Are you busy taking a shit or something?
like a flower?
I would love a flower. Happy Easter to the crowd. Good morning. Hello. What's your question?
Why is your hair so fabulous?
It's actually not hair. It's a small creature. As long as I keep it fed and sleeping, it's fine. Blow dryer. Majesty of blow dryer, a little bit of product. If I don't do anything with it, like honestly, it's either this or just like flat GarageBand from 1992. Like there's no other in between option. Like, if I just get out of the shower and let it go, I look pretty awful. So I'd rather take this with the flower. Morning, Sam.
Morning. So obviously this weekend, one of the big themes has been Magi. You know, the premiere of that. You play Sinbad, and that's a pretty big role in the show. And he's a pretty major character in the Arabian Nights, which is something that's been really influential throughout pop culture for hundreds of years. When you approach a show like that that has maybe decades or even centuries of history behind it, is that at least initially when you first started, was that nerve-wracking for you at all? Is it still like that, or do you just kind of not worry about it too much?
I wouldn't say it was nerve-wracking. It was a unique challenge. You know, as a person who's a fan of the extensive literary history of the character and many of the stories growing up, many of the films that interpret Sinbad's adventures, like it was really cool to be able to play one facet of that character in media. And so I wouldn't say I was stuck. I was just really honestly excited because I was really cool to see the way they interpret the character as well.
Right.
Whereas a lot of the Sinbad adventures that you read about usually are his up-and-coming adventures. You know, Sinbad, his rise to glory. This you step in where he's already kind of reached that point and he's sitting on his laurels and is kind of trying to instead use his time to draw that inspiration out of the next generation, you know, the new heroes that are arriving. And so it was really cool to kind of take that aspect of him. More laid back, knowing at all times that he probably could just destroy anyone that gets in his way. But he'd rather just drink and party, and that's cool. Though it does get him in trouble sometimes, if any of you have seen the Magi panel episodes we show. So yeah, be careful where you fall asleep if you've been drinking that much of a party.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.